Have you ever wondered why a culture of argument might be about more than just disagreement? What if it's the very foundation of an identity? That's exactly what we're going to get into today by exploring Amartya Sen's amazing essay, The Argumentative Indian. We're going to look at India's really deep and long tradition of public debate. And our guide for this is the brilliant Amartya Sen. He's a Nobel Prize winner, and he makes this really powerful claim. If you want to understand India, you absolutely have to understand its long, vibrant history of questioning, well, pretty much everything through discussion and debate. So, where do we even begin? Well, Sen points to something you might notice right away, a love for talking. And I mean a lot of talking. But this isn't some modern habit. It has roots that go back thousands of years and have literally shaped some of the culture's most important stories. What's with this number, 9 hours? Well, that is the length of the longest speech ever delivered at the United Nations. It was given by India's Krishna Menon way back in 1957. That's right, 9 hours straight. Can you even imagine? That is some serious dedication to making your point. But like Sen points out, this love for a really long and detailed conversation is definitely not new. This tradition of talk, of debate, of laying out every single side of an issue, it's woven deep into the fabric of India's oldest stories. I mean, just take the ancient epic, the Mahabharata. It's huge, about 7 times longer than both of the Greek epics, the Iliad and the Odyssey put together. So you have to ask, why so long? Well, it's because it's not just a story. It is jam-packed with dialogues, moral dilemmas, arguments, and counter-arguments. And these aren't just any old arguments. They are incredibly deep. Let's look at maybe the most famous one of all, from a text inside the Mahabharata called the Bhagavad Gita. It brings up this really profound moral problem that still feels so relevant today. So picture this. A massive battle is about to begin. The hero, Arjuna, is looking out at the battlefield, and he's filled with doubt because he's about to fight his own family. His guide, the god Krishna, tells him to focus on his duty as a warrior, to fare forward and fight for what's right, no matter what. But Arjuna can't stop thinking about the horrible human cost, about faring well. And this is the most important part. The story doesn't just say Krishna was right and Arjuna was wrong. Sen argues that the epic treats both sides with real sympathy. Arjuna's doubts, his worries about the consequences, they don't just disappear. They hang over the entire story, making a powerful case for always thinking about the results of our actions. And if you think this is just some ancient philosophical problem, think again. Thousands of years later, after watching the first atomic bomb test, J. Robert Oppenheimer famously quoted the Gita. And he wasn't quoting the part about duty. He was channeling the horror of the consequences, echoing Arjuna's doubts from so long ago. Now, this brings up a really good question. So far, we've talked about warriors and gods and sages. You might be wondering, was this argumentative tradition just for a small group of elite men? Not even close. In fact, as Sen shows us, some of the sharpest and most challenging thinkers in these ancient texts were actually women, and their voices and their arguments were written down with a huge amount of respect. Let's talk about the scholar Gargi. She stood up in a public assembly and challenged a very famous sage named Yajnavalkya. And just listen to how she does it. She's not timid at all. She basically says her questions are like penetrating arrows. I mean, that is some serious intellectual confidence. Then you have Maitreyi, who was actually married to that same sage Yajnavalkya. He offers to give her all his wealth as he's about to leave. And her response isn't to take the money, but to ask this incredibly deep philosophical question about what material things are really worth. And this is her question. It's legendary. She asks, "What should I do with that by which I do not become immortal?" Just think about that for a second. She's being offered everything, and she's basically saying, if this stuff can't give me true, lasting meaning, what good is it? It's just a stunning moment. We also see Draupadi, a key figure in the Mahabharata, who urges her husband to fight for justice after she's been terribly wronged. She even acknowledges that she's pushing the boundaries of so-called womanly conduct to make her point, but she uses the power of her argument to change the course of events. So we've gone way back into ancient history. Why does any of this matter right now? Well, this is Sen's central point. This tradition is not some dusty relic of the past. It's a living, breathing part of the present.
What Sen is really getting at is that this incredible heritage of public discussion, of valuing different points of view, is a huge part of India's identity, and the key reason for the success of its democracy. It's like this internal cultural asset that has always valued talking things through over just taking orders.
And that really leaves us with a final thought, doesn't it? The whole argumentative tradition celebrates the process, the complexity, and the wisdom of thinking about consequences. It asks us to think deeply instead of just having a knee-jerk reaction. So the question for all of us is this. In a world that wants fast answers and simple solutions, what do we risk losing when we forget the real value of a good argument?